Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here tonight with WWE's Monday Night Raw coverage. I'm way late. I was at work tonight. I had to cover somebody's shift, so I missed all of Monday Night Raw, but I come home to all of this big hoopla with Sami Zayn trending on Twitter, so I have to go check this out and see what's going down instead of watching the whole show. I'm going to skip right to watching John Cena versus Sami Zayn for the United States Championship. Of course, this was the open challenge for the United States Challenge on Monday Night Raw tonight, and this basically is how it goes down every week with Cena coming out delivering a promo. If you want some, come get some. Bret Hart's music hit right there at Monday Night Raw live in Montreal, and I will honestly tell you that I do remember, I think it was Montreal, back in 2010, after WrestleMania 26, Bret Hart had a match against The Miz on Monday Night Raw, and he beat The Miz for the United States Championship. There's a lot of people out there who think that's one of the best Monday Night Raw moments of all time, and an awesome way to cap off the career of Bret the Hitman Hart. I never liked that match. I never liked that title change, and if I remember right, I think in the end they put the title, they vacated the championship, and then at the end of it, The Miz ended up getting the title back in the long run. So it really didn't even really need to happen. I don't know if they just were trying to make amends with Bret for everything that ever went down. He already got a win at WrestleMania against Vince, so I don't know. I've just never been that strong about that match. Basically, Bret came down and tried to introduce the next challenger, who is the hell of a wrestler. He was interrupted by none other than Heath Slater. One man bam, baby! One of my favorite guys. This guy comes out on Raw the last 3 weeks, and he's basically stole the show for me. Someday he's going to get this match against John Cena, but it's not going to happen tonight. Heath Slater runs down everything that's happened to him in the last few weeks. Basically taking the RKO from Randy Orton in catering. Last week coming out to accept the challenge from Cena and being jumped from behind by Rusev. And this week, he makes it all the way to the ring when he's about to cash in and get that United States Championship run, when Bret the Hitman Hart clonks him right in the head and knocks him out with basically the microphone. And from there, Bret Hart talked about, the guy he's introducing is a hell of a wrestler. He's a hometown boy, and all of Montreal pops big. They don't know who it is. I don't think they knew who it was yet, because the pop was just that momentary real good pop. And then Bret's next line was, he's tearing up NXT, and the place went bananas. And that pop didn't stop. Everybody knew it was going to be Sami Zayn. I think that last night, I was basically on Twitter, and I think it was even today when I was at the gym, and somebody who ends up, who's going to go to the show tonight, I think it was Daryl Carter, at GMoney1153, kept on asking me who it was going to be. I had no idea that it was going to be Sami Zayn tonight. I knew that was his hometown, but I know he's got one more big match against Kevin Owens coming up. I believe the next pay-per-view it's going to main event for it. So I don't even know if this is really Sami Zayn's Raw debut. If you can remember back to when Charlotte lost on Raw to Natalya, and then of course Sami Zayn's already wrestled in that was it a 6-man tag, or no, it was just a regular tag when it was Sami Zayn, Tyson Kidd, Neville, and who else was in that fatal 4-way? I can't remember who it was. I went too fast, and I named the names. I can't remember who I named, but he's already been there on Raw. But Triple H on his call-in, because basically podcast that he does to hype up the shows, talked about that they're not actual Raw debuts, and when you get a Monday Night Raw debut and they become a big part of the Monday Night Raw roster, you're going to know, and basically they're going to make a big deal out of it. How you can go back from this, I've got no clue. It's almost like when Adrian Neville had his match on pay-per-view at Extreme Rules against Wade Barrett. That's when I really knew that he was never going back. That's too big of a moment for him to have. And him having a great match against John Cena should be that moment for Sami Zayn. Maybe he should go back, have the match against Kevin Owens, which I guess he's going to have to lose now, because I don't think you want to strip the championship from Sami Zayn because he's on Monday Night Raw. But then again, they do all the tapings in 2 days, so maybe they can keep him on the main roster and on the NXT roster at the same time. Sami has an awesome match with John Cena. He's one of the greatest. As El Generico, when he switched over to being Sami Zayn, I really thought that it didn't really make much sense why he would try and do something so different than when people thought he was one of the best indie wrestlers out there on the market when WWE scooped him up. Why he would take the mask off, why he would kill off that character, I don't know, man. He's turned it around, and he's probably bigger than he was before. Everybody loves Sami Zayn. He was one of the biggest, most over guys at WrestleMania weekend when he was doing the NXT signings, or whether if he was in the ring. I know that he didn't get to wrestle on that NXT show, but the promo that him and that Kevin Owens had was just great. In this match tonight, basically Sami Zayn. He didn't get a lot of offense in this match. Basically, he was coming from behind a lot. But for a guy like Sami Zayn to really come out there during the match and kick out of an AA, and as well as when John Cena's going for the 5-knuckle shuffle, reach up and grab Cena and roll him up for a 2 count. That's a hell of a way for this guy to debut. Cena ended up getting the win with a second AA that was followed up with a stunner. At the springboard stunner off the side of the ropes. But this was an awesome match. Zayn looked really good, and I'm really looking forward to when he becomes a main part of the main roster. And I think it's going to be a real big deal when he does. Probably easily one of the biggest things that's been on Monday Night Raw in a good little while. Definitely nothing really heating up for Payback yet. I know they're doing a lot of Randy Orton versus they're doing a lot of Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns going on right now with Monday Night Raw, but we'll have to see what happens in the long run. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you, a continuation on the Sami Zayn video that I put up against John Cena, making his Monday Night Raw live debut. Things, honestly, couldn't have gone worse for him, I guess. It is the worst luck of all. Honestly, when I watched the match, I did notice that Sami Zayn looked like he injured his arm. The first time I noticed when it happened is when he did his sort of like springboard through the ropes DDT on John Cena during the match. It looked like he came down on his wrist. I thought maybe he had injured his wrist just by all the weight coming down on it. I didn't think it was going to be really that bad of an injury, something that maybe more than likely he just taped up for a while and he'd be all right. But from when it comes down to it and reading the news about Monday Night Raw, Sami Zayn actually injured his shoulder while trying to get the crowd going before his match. When he made his entrance, he came down to the ring. He got up onto the top of the steel steps and was just waving his hands in the air, and he looks like he just sort of dislocated his shoulder or something in his arm. He worked the match. The referee did call for the X. For the people who actually looked for that, I got no clue. I never noticed the referee at all during the match. If there's a really, really bad spot, I'll be able to notice the ref throw the X up. But I guess just to me, honestly, it just sort of seemed like there was really nothing going on out there. I thought that he just came down on his wrist, and I thought it would just be a short little thing. The word on the street is that Sami Zayn is going to be going in for an MRI. They're going to be looking at him tomorrow. Zayn has been out of action since April 2nd with an injury, and it sucks that here he is making his comeback. He's got his big match booked already up against Kevin Owens for the NXT Championship at the next NXT Live special, and he makes his Monday Night Raw, hopefully his real debut here tonight, and he's throwing his arms up in the air to try to get everybody into it, and he gets hurt. It reminds me a lot of that match, I believe it was back in 2010, with Randy Orton going up against Edge on a pay-per-view. I think he was Over the Limit, but I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, just comment down below, because I remember the match. I remember Randy Orton hurting himself, doing his own taunt, and then they had to call the match on the fly, where Edge and Randy ended up ending their match in a count-out, and it was a match that honestly a lot of people were really looking forward to seeing, and not being able to see the match, and I can't think of another match they had off the top of my head, so maybe we got cheated out of that. But Sami Zayn, best of luck to this guy. Hopefully he's come back, and hopefully he's not hurt too bad. Like I said, the MRI is scheduled for tomorrow, and we'll have to see what goes down to it, but I've never seen somebody just trying to get the crowd pumped up for their debut hurt themselves.